نوري الأنوار وسيري الأسرار وتيرياقي الأغيار ومفتاح
Hello everyone and welcome to the poster competition Al-Quran and Sciences poster presentation. I am Nur Nazla binti Al-Wahab from the Al-Adhal Science program. Today, I'll be acting as the moderator for today's program. Assalamualaikum and a very good day. I bid to our lineup of honorable judges for today, Dr. Nur Saadiah binti Muhammad Ali, Miss Siti Farhana binti Abu Hassan, Sir Muhammad Rafi bin Muhammad Basri, participants of the poster competitions, and everyone present. All praise to the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for granting us to be gathered here tonight, participating in a poster competition, Al-Quran and Science poster presentation. This program was organized by the MRC of Mahallah Umamah and Mahallah Zahrawi and was aimed to hone and enhance the students' mind by applying the knowledge along with Al-Quran. I would like to remind all of the contestants that the judging process for today will be conducted fairly and equally without any bias. Without further ado, I'll open the floor to our first team with their presentation. Please welcome Amanina Hussaini binti Zulkifli, Muhammad Nazmi Wajdi bin Yushhadi, Muhammad Nazhan bin Nur Azmal, Muhammad Fauzan bin Asmi, Ilya Maisarah binti Mamat, with Madam Nurul Emilia Diana binti Abdul Malik as the advisor from the Department of Human Sciences. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajma'in. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Nazmi Wajdi and I stand here today as the representative for Human Sciences Department in presentation for tonight poster competition. It is really an honor for me to be here today. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala granted us rahmah, barakah and maghfirah along the program. I would like to express my gratitude to the honorable judges for having me today. I would also like to express to thanks Madam Emilia who guided us along the poster making process. Then I also want to thanks my fellow teammates for making this happening. Brother Nazhan, Brother Fauzan, Sister Amanina and Sister Ilya who worked hard in creating and illustrate this magnificent poster that we see today. Ladies and gentlemen, Human Sciences through Al-Quran is the title of our poster tonight. As we all know, Al-Quran itself is revelation from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that contain vast amount of guidance in various fields, including social science. We need to set up the Al-Quran as our main guidance in seeking the knowledge, and only by that we will be rewarded by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala both in the world and the hereafter. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore, the objective that we want to achieve by the poster first is we want to spread the understanding about the interrelation between the Al-Quran and social science, Second, to evaluate the significance of social science fields through Quranic perspective. And the third one, we want to implement the Quranic principle into the foundation of social sciences field. Ladies and gentlemen, so without wasting any time, let us go through the 5 pillars of human sciences studies in the poster. First of all, the studies of sociology. In verse Al-Hujurat, verse 13, we can see from this ayah, the Quran commands us to learn and study the cultures of various groups and communities in order to gain understanding, humility, and gain taqwa. In context of Malaysian nowadays, we have Malay, we have Chinese, we have Indians, and many others to learn from. Truth to be told, Islam is a universal religion, and it isn't exclusive to a certain creed, culture, or race. Everyone has their own story to tell, and they may give you deep understanding on things that you may never think of before. Therefore, by learning sociology, we will gain understanding, humility, and this in taqwa in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The next studies is the study of Shams. From the verse, we can understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed 2 potential on the soul since man was created. The first one is fujur, which led to the ahlak mazmumah, and the second one is taqwa that produced the ahlak mahmudah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guaranteed people who do good deeds will be rewarded, while those who do not do evil deeds will be held accountable on their action. It can be said that noble values are a reflection of one's inner beauty, while rotten values are a Sorry, I just got kicked out from the Zoom. Okay, back to the psychology perspective. By learning psychology, we will remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mercy is always greater than his wrath. I like to believe that we are all as human beings are inherently good. It is our environment that teaches us to be otherwise. Even so, we should not lose hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgiveness, as he opened infinite of doors of mercy every single day just for us. And this we learn in the psychology. Ladies and gentlemen, moving to the third studies in human sciences, which is political science. Based on Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 48, based on this verse, each ummah has its own sharia and rules based on circumstances of life. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has established a variety of regulation to put his followers to the test, rewarding those who obey and punishing those who do not. Leaders of countries nowadays, all over the world, are entrusted with responsibilities to lead their people to the truth. We as a Muslim must strive to achieve the highest collective goals in according with his commandment, such as upholding the justice, removing tyranny, protecting the oppressed, forbidding the evil, and preaching the truth, because we are ultimately leaders among ourselves. And these are the things that we learn in the political science. The next studies is the studies of history. In this verse, Surah At-Taha verse 99, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to the Al-Quran as az-zikru, which means reminders, because it reminds us of God, his sign and messages, and other signs given to the people in the past, such as the tale of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and what occurred to him with Fir'aun and his armies. Al-Quran serves as a warning about what has happened in the past, as well as a lesson in the future. It is essential to remember to always do the right thing and not repeat the same mistake made by the previous generation, so that we can become better Muslim that never stray from the right paths, same like what history teaches about. And last but not least, the studies of communication. In Surah Al-Hujurat, verse 6, as stated in the poster, we shouldn't say anything first without determining whether the information we have is accurate or not, because misinformation has its own ramification. For instance, if we look nowadays in the social media, we can see a lot of fake news spreading, and sometimes there are people believing it. The attitude of being cautious with the knowledge we spread is in tune with the concept tabayyun that the Al-Quran is teaching. The concept of analyzing any news or information received by verifying the truthfulness of the information. In short, we must be wary and we must be just. We shouldn't spreading news that come to us. This ethic is similar to what communication taught about. Ladies and gentlemen, for conclusion, after we had gone through the 5 pillars of human sciences in the poster, Al-Quran completely covers the field of social science that should be practiced and remains relevant throughout different centuries and perspective because it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revelation. After all, we Muslims are subjected to conduct da'wah. To do da'wah, first we must know how the people act, and to know how the people act is by learning social science or human sciences. Again, I would like to thank the honorable judges and fellow attendees for having me today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grace us with his blessing in the end, and what can we benefit in today's presentation. Jazakallahu khairul jaza. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you, Department of Human Sciences, for the amazing presentations now. I'd like to invite our judges if there is any commentary for the team just now.
Okay, thank you very much to the presenter for the presentation just now. Okay, also very attractive poster. Okay, so I have one question to ask. Based on your opinion, what are the challenges facing by the Muslim Ummah in order to integrate Islamization from a human science subject matter's perspective?
I am sorry for the inconvenience. Does the presenter have to answer it, or can any of us answer the question?
Any representative from your group can answer the question.
So if I'm not mistaken, the question is, how do we integrate the human sciences concepts into Islamization?
What are the challenges?
What are the challenges that we face? Okay. So in today's world, I see that the human sciences subject are not really common among the public. For example, sociology. When I tell people that I study sociology, people will be like, what is that about? Is that some type of science, or what do you study in that subject? So it's not well known among the public. Therefore, I think one of the challenges are to actually introduce these subjects and make it known, as in today's world, actually science is regarded higher than art subjects, right? So to integrate like the Islamic concepts of human sciences, people must know what is human sciences first. Therefore, I think that is the main challenge, and other challenges includes the how do we integrate Islamization into human sciences. So in Al-Quran, there are a lot of verses that tells us about human sciences and its importance, but we have to learn deeper about the verses told to be able to integrate well into the human sciences concepts. So I think, yes, the first one is it's not really well known, and the second one, how we have to understand deeper about the verses, then we can integrate well with the human sciences concepts.
All right, thank you very much for the answer.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the question.
All right, thank you, Madam Nur Sadia and Amanina Hussaini. We have heard Al-Quran and science from the perspective of human sciences. Next, I would like to call upon the Department of ICT. Please welcome Aida Mashitah binti Azhari, Muhammad Amir Imtiaz bin Muhammad Anwar, Nur Iman Amani binti Ahmad Akhir, Adam Hakimi bin Muhammad Fahim, with Madam Rahaya binti Ruslan as the advisor from the Department of ICT. Please welcome, the floor is yours.
Everyone audible?
Yes, clear.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all honorable judges and everyone in the Zoom. My name is Aida Mashita binti Zahrawi, and I am the president of ICT Student Society. And I am here today representing the ICT Student Society, or more known as INTEX, in collaboration with the ICT department with Madam Rahaya binti Ruslan. The title of my poster is Integration of Islamic Values in Basic Application of ICT. Specifically, under the subject Basic Application of ICT, I picked the topic, the Internet and the Web. As you may or may not have known, the Basic Application of ICT is a core course and made compulsory to all students of CFSIIUM. And this just proves that this subject holds a dear significance and it cannot be taken lightly to students, as even art student programs are made compulsory for this subject. So by that, we understand the aim of how CFS wants to provide students with intellect regarding ICT. As we lean towards a more digitalized society, we have to be proactive and keen on the development of information and technology. The field of ICT is getting vast day by day as we are growing, and our aim today is to show you the integration between ICT with Islam. And what is integration? Integration refers to combination of two or more things in order to achieve something greater. And our main point is to display the integration by harnessing the internet and the web to gain more knowledge about Islam itself with a purpose to become a better Muslim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Iqra bismi rabbikal ladzi khalaq. The verse that I just recite highlights the intellect as a hallmark for Muslims. And as Muslims, we are obligated to seek knowledge. The internet and the web is human knowledge. Hence, we are integrating it with Islam, and by applying the internet and the web as a means to improve ourselves as Muslims and to incorporate Islamic values within ourselves. This emphasizes on the Islamization of the human knowledge to become a better Muslim. And one of the ways to utilize the internet and the web for the purpose of improving our acts of devotion towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is we can learn more deeply. For example, it's about Islamic Sharia, as in our prayers. The Messenger of Allah mentioned that on the day of the judgment, a slave will be questioned about his prayers first. If his prayers are good, his other deeds will be good too. If his prayers are bad, his other deeds will be bad too. So prayer is one of the 5 fundamental pillars of Islam. And as Muslims, we carry the duty to follow the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in Islam, there is no stopping from improving our act of devotions. To achieve the better act, we can implement the usage of the internet and the web. And how is that? By just simply accessing the various source of information and knowledge online. We can watch practical videos, read information, and attain numerous knowledge by just surfing the internet and the web. However, we also need to implement fatabayan, which means to investigate. In the subject, Basic Application of ICT, we are taught of content evaluation, which is utmost vital when surfing the internet and the web. we have to make sure everything we encounter on the internet conforms by these four criteria, which are authority, accuracy, objectivity, and currency. So, before we approach or make use of any information on the internet, we must evaluate it first using the four criteria I just mentioned. We as Muslims have to be smart in choosing the knowledge that we acquire, especially when it comes to the Islamization of human knowledge. And the internet is at the tips of our fingers. It is vital for us Muslims to make use of it, as we could improve ourselves as Muslims by using the internet and the web. Each and every one of us here today holds the duty to mimic the perfect facade that has been portrayed by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hence, we should incorporate the use of human knowledge, in this case, the internet and the web, and find ways to contribute to improve ourselves, improve our devotion, and strive to be better every day and successful in life and also the afterlife, especially as Muslims. Everything is for the Almighty Creator Himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are created by Him, and to Him we shall return. With that, I end my presentation here today with Wabillahi tawfiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, the Department of ICT, for the awesome presentation just now. Therefore, I would like to ask our judges if there are any commentary or question for the Department of ICT.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. I have one question to the presenter. Generally, what are the importance of integrating the human knowledge about internet that you just presented with the Islamic principle from the perspective of you as the CFS student? Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So the question is, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? Is it about how the integration that I mentioned is important?
Yes, from your perspective as CFS students, since you mentioned that ICT is a core subject to all students, students from all courses in CFS. So from your perspective, the importance of integrating the human knowledge about internet with the Islamic principles.
So to answer that question, I believe that each and every one of us as Muslims, we hold the responsibility to always seek knowledge as Muslim and to always better improve in terms of our ibadah. And we are using the ICT subject and the subtopic of the internet and the web, we can fully utilize that to improve our ibadah. And that is to improve our ibadah because as Muslim, we need to mimic the perfect facade that the Prophet has portrayed us, and no one can fully be perfect in terms of our ibadah and our devotion towards God. So I believe that by using basic application of ICT itself, the internet and the web, we can further improve ourselves to not to be perfect, not to achieve perfection, but to always seek knowledge, because as Muslim, it is an obligation to seek knowledge and to further improve ourselves and our devotion towards God.
Okay, thank you for the answer.
Thank you, Ms. Farhana and Sister Aida. So, we have learned about the integration of internet to gain knowledge, including Islamic values. I believe this is crucial as we today live in a digital world where internet has become part of our life. Therefore, I would like to invite the Department of AED. Please welcome Aina Tasha Elina binti Rahimi, Wan Ahmad Nabil bin Muhammad Hani, Tengku Nadira Shazwani binti Tengku Barudin, Awang Aiman bin Alauddin, with the advisor Sir Muhammad Rafi'i Muhammad Basri. Please welcome.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you may proceed.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تعالى في القرآن العظيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون, which means corruption has appeared throughout the land and sea by reason of what the hands of people have earned. So he may let them taste part of the consequence of what they have done, that perhaps they will return to righteousness. Surah Ar-Rum, verse 41. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Awang, and tonight me and my teammates Elina, Nabil, and Nadira from Architecture and Environmental Design Department will be presenting on the topic Islamic Principles of Environmental Ethics in Environmental Management. In relation to the ayah recited earlier, our mission is to integrate the principles of Al-Quran in our line of work, architecture, which prioritize the importance of the welfare of the mother nature. And today we will disclose of what is the relation between our sacred religion and the environmental management as stated in the Holy Quran. Moving along to Nadira.
The main objectives of our poster that we are presenting today is to address the issues of environmental degradation, which according to Surah Ar-Rum verse 41 are caused by the hands of human beings. Evidently, we can see the constant reoccurrence of pollutions are mostly from our daily activities. Second is to highlight the principles of environmental ethics in environmental management according to the Quran, for which my team will further explain on this later on. The third objective is to show that Al-Quran can be a primary source of knowledge and as an ideal reference in sustainable development. What are environmental ethics? To put it directly, it is how we as human beings take good measures in managing the Earth's resources efficiently, as well as tolerating other species. So why are environmental ethics important? As stated in Surah Ad-Dukhan verse 38, the earth indeed is not created for squander. However, the increasing number of threats to the earth's biodiversity and resources are quite critical. Hence why the implementation of good environmental ethics is important to minimize the effects from the development and construction industry. Moving along.
So one concept in Islam that has been highlighted throughout our lives is ash-shumuliyah. Translated directly from Arabic, this means inclusive or totalitarian. It's the whole and encompassing nature of Islam in our daily lives. From the Quran, it is a book that teaches us not just faith and belief to our God personally, but it also extends to other living beings, humans, plants, animals, and ultimately the environment as a whole. From the Quran, we derive 5 principles of environmental ethics in dealing with nature and creation in of itself. So number 1, Tawheed. It means oneness of God, of the one single creator. But another interesting way of looking at it is the oneness of everything in this universe is created from one single creator in the sense that it is all really related to each other in that sense. As stated in verse 16 of Surah An-Nisa, punish both of those among you who are guilty of this sin, and then if they repent and mend their ways, leave them alone. For Allah is always ready to accept repentance, and He is all in compassionate. This refers to how humans should abide by the rules and regulations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, this includes in how we manage our environment. Number two, ayat. The literal translation of ayat means a sign. Everything is created by the one creator, right? From the tiniest ant to the largest planet. Verse 20 in Surah Al-Dhariyat states, there are many signs on earth for those of sure faith. And this leads to every single thing from the Earth's own body structure, body and its structure, its location in the solar system, being placed at a suitable distance from the sun, everything about it, as Muslims, have to take into account and consideration of all these as a sure sign from our one God of how we should take care of our nature and how every single one of these signs deserve to be preserved and taken care of. Next.
Next. Thirdly, is mizan. Mizan, which carry the meaning of balance. Everything in this universe play a role in maintaining its balance. Man should not upset this balance by injuring or affecting the nature in a negative way. In Surah Ar-Rahman, verse 6 and 7, which carry the meaning of the stars and tree bow down in submission, and as for the skies, he raised it high and set the balance of justice, which meant Allah already created this world in perfect balance. And it is in our responsibility to keep it that way. And next is Khalifa. As we all know, Khalifa means ruler. But in here, Khalifa here means Allah sent human to earth as a guardian to maintain and protect all of its creation. In Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 30, Allah said to the angel that he going to send on earth a successive human authority. And angel asked Allah, will this human authority cause corruption and bloodshed? And Allah said that he knows better. This means that Allah put a trust in us that we can and we will protect the nature and preserve, so none of this balance were to be go out of balance. Next is amanah. Amanah carry the meaning of fulfilling and upholding a trust. That's the literal meaning of amanah. We as humans must see all being in this universe as created and belong to Allah. We as humans should play our role and use earth resources carefully to not disturb the balance that are our responsibility. In Surah Al-Jathiyah, verse 12, Allah mentioned that He has subjected the sea for us, that we may sail by His command to seek His bounty, and perhaps we'll be grateful. Which means that by Allah's command, by Allah, because Allah allowed us to do so, that we can go to a lot of places, that we can harvest the resources on this earth. And for that, we need to be grateful, because our time on earth were temporary, and our future and our past and future will belong to Allah. Next.
In conclusion, through the Quran itself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not only ordered the humanity to control our greed and not harm the nature for self-benefit, but to love and care for it. To love the nature and stand against the one who means harm to it. Let's all think of our children and the future generations. Let them see the beauty that we sustain today and not suffer the doings of our hands. Think about it. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, the Department of AED, for their wonderful presentation just now. Before we go any further, I would like to invite our judges for today, if there is any commentary for the Department of AED. Please welcome.
Okay, I have one question to the presenters. From your perspective, how can we instill those environmental ethics that you mentioned in your poster based on the Islamic principles in our society?
So, based on our understanding, how we can instill this Islamic principle in our society is by first, as we all know, there's a lot of environmental issue going on, such as what is it called, greenhouse effects and all. And this is because we overdo some of these things. For example, if we have area that has a lot of good woods, then we overuse this. We take more than what we're supposed to. We did not cultivate more for the future generation to use. So I think how we can implement this is to do everything in moderation. And if we were to build building, we also need to build a park. If we were to demolish a piece of land, we also need to build another sanctuary for all these animals on earth, so we can have things, but at the same time all these other creatures do not lose what will belong to them. So I think based on my understanding, and that is how we can implement what we were just presenting in our poster just now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer.
Thank you, Ms. Farhana and Sister Elina Rahimi. I believe we all have learned about the environmental ethic, the importance of environmental ethic, and the source of ethic from Al-Quran, and much more. I believe everyone also has learned how humans help the authority in this world to protect and preserve the nature. Next, I would like to invite the Mahallah Al-Biruni. Please welcome Arif Hafizuddin bin Zuliadin, Adlan Shahmi bin Azhad, Izul Ajwad, together with Ustad Abdul Rahman Al-Osman, Brother Muhammad Fazli bin Basar, Brother Muhammad Ikram bin Hussein, Brother Muhammad Hanis bin Ruslan, Brother Muhammad Faizuddin bin Hashim as their advisor. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. May yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa may yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Alhamdulillah, first of all, our gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala, because with his abundance and grace we can be together in this blessed ceremony. And thank you also to our principal, Sir Wan Khairi, and our fellows, Brother Fazli, Brother Faizuddin, Ustaz Rahman, and also Sir Ikram, who helped us a lot and encouraged us to participate in this program, alhamdulillah. So as we know, that Islam and science both mutually supportive of each other. Even science itself is able to give religious awareness to a person. So today, inshallah, by God's will, we are going to talk and share about physics in Islam and Al-Quran, and specifically about mountain, and about what Allah said in the Quran regarding this matter, and what it can be related with science, and how this can strengthen our creed towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So to further our talk, inshallah, I will pass it to my beloved friends, Arif, inshallah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. As you know, mount is a mount. Okay. We are talking about physics. Okay. All explorations and observations of natural phenomena that are God's creation are included in the scope of the study of physics. So physics is a branch of science that studies the phenomenon of the environment that has been created by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala the Almighty, who is certain of the perfection of His creation, starting from the smallest size to the largest size. Okay. So in this poster, we put a verse of ayat Quran fi surah An-Naba, verse 6 to 7. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Alam naj'alil arda mihada wal jibala awtada aw kama qala. We have not spread the earth like a bed, yes, and fixed the mountains like pitch. Okay. So mountains are usually higher and steeper than hills. If both
Gamings and mountains ranges are formed due to the movement of the Earth's crust bulging. If both crusts rise up, a mountain range is formed, whereas if one of the crusts is fall under the other crust, a volcano is formed. In Quran, Allah mentions mountains in two types, in two words, which is al-jibal wal-rawasi. The first is plural word, which is mentioned 33 times, al-jibal, while the singular word of jabal is mentioned 6 times, and the second is the rawasi 10 times. The term jabal is more general than rawasi because rawasi is probably meant specifically to refer to a mountain that serves as an earthquake. Okay, so only about 1.1% thicker than the content in the earth. The earth crust is too fragile, and when compared to its liquid shaped interior. Furthermore, the core earth part of the earth contains a liquid iron nickel alloy that is constantly in motion. So in the next verse, we put Surah Al-Isra, verse 37. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولا تمشي في الأرض مرحا إنك لن تخرق الأرض ولن تبلغ الجبال طولا أو كما قال. The means you can neither tear the earth apart nor can you match the mountains in height. That means we can tear the earth apart because it is Allah's creation. Therefore, the mountains found on the earth crust layer so that it does not move and is strong, which is bottom is always moving. So for your general knowledge, the distance between the earth's surface to the center of the earth is 6,380 kilometers. The earth's crust is 70 kilometers thick. It's too thick. While the temperature at the inner core is extremely high, around 60,000 degrees Celsius, or more specific, 5,430. So to emphasize our poster, our presentation today, I will pass to Adlan.
So inshallah, alhamdulillah. So when we talk about mount, is the mounts, as we know, is huge creature, huge creation that Allah has created it to on our earth. So we have to feel humble because the mountain, even the mount huge, it will destroy when Allah want to appear himself to mountain, or when a Quran will fall down. Quran will be to arsala to the mountain, like in Surah Al-Hashr. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. Yes, it will going to be destroyed because it fear to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we as a human that small and nothing to us, and we have no power, so we have to be humble and be gratitude to Allah and do what Allah wants we do, and we have to strengthen our creed towards Allah by realizing this method, inshallah.
All right, that's all from us. Thank you to the MC. I pass to MC.
Thank you, the representative from Al-Abruni, for the amazing presentation just now. Therefore, without any delay, I would like to invite one of our judges to give any commentary or any questions for the team just now.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hafiz Al-Abruni, I am Adlan, I believe. Okay, from Mahallah Al-Abruni. Okay, first of all, thank you very much for the very good presentation just now. Okay, we can really see how do you relate the Quranic verses together with the knowledge that you learn in physics. Okay, that was very good. Okay, my question is that how do you, okay, after doing all these poster things, okay, you study on the mountain and the relationship between the Quranic verses and the physics of the mountain itself, how do you relate between the two? And how does it improve your iman as a student of CFS?
Thank you to Sir Rafai Masri for the question. So first, how it's these studies improve our iman? That's as I have mentioned before, that this will make ourselves humble.
Yes.
Yes, because we are human is small. Yes, so we what always think about the mountain, and we we more love to watch what Allah creates and related with our iman. Relate it with our iman. So how what Allah gives to us, what Allah gives to us is to what we call
reflect.
Yes, practice. So yes, is can be make ourselves humble.
Okay, I will continue. The Quran verse is Paul is given to us to we reflect to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. We come back to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Kama qala wa Ta'ala, afala yatadabbaruna al-Quran. Afala yatadabbaruna al-Quran. Am ala qulub الشيطان الرجيم أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أقفالها. It means, do they still not then reflect on the Quran, or do they have locks their hearts? So it is fardu ala al-Muslim, reflect to the Quran and be humble to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and to all mankind. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Sir Muhammad Rafi and the brothers. So we have learned about the earth physically, especially about the mountain, through several of Quranic verses presented by the contestant from Mahallah Al-Biruni, and also relating it with physics as what we have learned in the lessons. Next, I would like to call upon the Department of LMD. Please welcome Najibah binti Khairul Azhar, Faiz Nur Rasyilah Rihlah binti Muhammad Fadli, Nur Atira binti Muhammad Shif Hafizuddin, Nur Munirah binti Ayub, with Sir Muhammad Zahin bin Muhammad Yusuf as their advisor. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are students from the Language and Management Department. We'll be presenting to you our poster under the topic of tourism and language, which is the dua of Prophet Ibrahim to bless the Makkah. So we have chosen the 14th chapter of Al-Quran, which is Surah Ibrahim, verses 35 and 36. So further elaborate on our topic. Our objective includes increasing one's gratitude for the blessing of Allah, showing that Islam is a way of life, not only a religion, and also to show the importance of forgiving people and patience. Next, I'll pass the floor to Sister Najibah.
Thank you, Sister Faiz. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started with one of the nature of study of our department, which is tourism. So, what is tourism actually? Tourism is a social, cultural, and economic phenomenon which entails the movement of people to countries or places outside their usual environment for personal or professional purposes. Before that, let's take a look first at the Quranic verses in Surah Ibrahim, verses 35, which means, remember Abraham said, "Oh my Lord,
Make this city one of peace and security, and preserve me and my sons from worshipping idols. In the dua of Prophet Ibrahim, which consists of 7 verses in total, Allah sent Prophet Ibrahim, the father of prophets, to the previous Ummah as a role model to show gratefulness in every blessing of Allah, and also as a reminder for the Ummah to be grateful and put their belief in Allah. For example, in Surah Ibrahim verses 35, Prophet Ibrahim alaihissalam prayed to Allah to bless the Mecca with the greatest favor for human beings, which is peace that comes from the word Amina from the ayah. When it comes to the word peace, we might think like free from oppression, war, but actually in this context, not only free from oppression and war, but also we can say that peace can free us from religious heresy, hardship, and so on. So for further elaboration, I'll pass the floor to Munira.
Thank you, Sister Najibah. As stated by Sister Najibah earlier, when peace is able to protect us from war, oppression, hardship, and so on, it will increase the number of tourist arrivals. The proof, now Mecca has become one of the popular places with a large number of tourists, either to worship specifically for Muslim or explore the uniques of Islam itself, especially in historical places. So, the progress of Mecca achieved is able to develop the teachings of Islam through the arrival of tourists from within the country and abroad to see the progress of Islam itself and Allah's worship. For example, with the emergence of Zamzam well, traders and trading tribes began to appear and they begin to live there and open the new placements. However, there are also those who disbelieve in their favor. Islam is a religion that is very concerned about security and rejects all forms of violence, but there are a few who are not grateful for this blessing and even deny it by inviting others to deny God as the Almighty God and worshipping idols. Therefore, Prophet Ibrahim prayed to Allah to give prosperity to the land of Mecca to make the previous Ummah aware of the great blessings that Allah bestowed on His servants. So that's all from me. I'll pass this floor to the next presenter.
Thank you, Sister Munira. Okay, I will continue with the next point, which is language. Before that, what is language? Language is a communication tool owned by human in the form of a system of sound symbols that come from human speech or mouth. In Surah Ibrahim, verse 36 means, "My Lord, indeed they have led astray many among the people. So whoever follows me, then he is of me, and whoever disobeys me, then you are forgiving and merciful." From the verse, this is a figurative way of saying that idols have been the means of turning many people away from Allah's way into the way of deviation. Then he mentioned the quiet of few people were deceived by others, but Ibrahim freed himself from those who worship him and left their affairs to the way of Allah, whether Allah will punish or forgive them. From verse 36, "My Lord, indeed they have led many astray." The first reflection from this ayah, the language used shows assertiveness in stating something wrong, which is worship idols. Prophet Ibrahim had seen how idols were made in his own house, and he saw the danger of idolatry, and therefore he used the word innahunna as an emphasis and assertiveness. He knew very well that idols had misled many people. Next, from this verse, "And whoever disobeys me, then surely you are the forgiving, the most merciful." The second reflection from this ayah, the language used shows the nature of forgiveness to those who are disobedient. And if anyone who disobeys this teaching, Prophet Ibrahim praised Allah is the most forgiving. Why did he praise Allah like that? He didn't ask them to be saved from punishment, but asked Allah to forgive them. He continued to praise that Allah is forgiving. That is, for Allah, it is the nature of His forgiveness to grant forgiveness to those who are disobedient. So for the next explanation, I will pass the floor to Sister Faiz.
So the next point is that the language used in verse 36 shows a loving nature where we can see the beauty of the language itself, that is showing the nature of Prophet Ibrahim, who was loving toward his people, even though they did not trust him as a prophet and even betray him. But Nabi Ibrahim still loved them and tried his best to support them. This shows that the Prophet Ibrahim is a person full of patience as he treats his people lovingly, regardless of their attitudes. So the last point for language is the language used shows the nature of patience, where Prophet Ibrahim leaves the matter of those who follow a different path from him to the forgiveness and mercy of Allah, because he is not willing to see the people he loves being under a divine punishment. So next, I will pass to Sister Munira to conclude the poster.
Okay, thank you. So in conclusion, the things we learn from the prayer of Ibrahim alayhi salam, this is a believer must be grateful to Allah for all the blessings bestowed. If thankful, it will be added. If disbelief, will be punished. But the forgiveness from Allah is always open as long as we believe in Him. Prayer, gratitude, and forgiveness need to go hand in hand. Not one of them should be left out. So that's all from us. Thank you, everyone, for lending us your ears. Thank you.
Thank you, the Department of LMD. With that, we have learned about language and tourism from the perspective of Islamic views and how the subject is aligned with Islamic teaching by mentioning the seerah of Prophet Ibrahim. But before we go any further, I would like to invite our judges to give any commentary or questions to our contestant. Please welcome.
Mute, madam, mute.
Not very clear, madam. Madam, mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Available. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry for the confusion. Okay.
Madam, I think you have to speak nearer to the microphone, perhaps.
Oh, I'm using my laptop for this the issue on the audio. Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much for the informative sharing just now from the LMD department. So I am interested on the first aspect that you just presented, okay, on tourism. Okay, also can you suggest the best Muslim holiday destination and why?
Madam, can you repeat again?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, actually,
Yes.
I have two questions. Okay, my first question is, can you suggest the best Muslim holiday destination for the tourism, and can you explain why?
The best destination for Muslim tourism.
Yes.
Okay, so do you ask the best destination for Muslim tourism?
Yes, based on your experience, maybe, or based on your findings.
Okay.
Then on the two aspects, on tourism and also language, right? And you provide also examples.
Okay. For the best destination in tourism is Mecca. As we know, Mecca is the one of the biggest biggest tourist places that many people are interested to go there. Either they want to visit the place or they want to perform ibadah. And at the Mecca, they have many places that are interesting, such as Bukit Safa and Marwa, Zamzam Well, and many more. And for your information, Mecca is the one of the best destination for Muslim. Such as from other places such as Turkey and United Arab Emirates. Okay. Okay, so I think that's all from me.
Okay, I have another one question.
Yes.
Okay, can you give one challenge in providing Muslim-friendly tourism?
Okay. For the one challenges that I know is many tourism places, they are not used the they are not used the Islam perspective, such as for the okay, such as they have not taken care of the halal food or the of the ibadahs places. And because of that, for the ibadahs places, it is very important to take care of that, as it is one of the place we want to perform ibadah. Okay, so the destination must have take note for the every aspects in Islam tourism. Yes, I think that's all.
Okay, thank you very much, sister, for the response. That's all from me.
All right, thank you, Madam Rosadia and Sister Nur Munira. We have learned a lot of things regarding Islamic perspective and also tourism. Next, I would like to invite the representative from Mahallah Fatimah. Please welcome Sister Nazah binti Bahrain Shah, Anis Fatihah binti Muhammad Zulkarnain, Hanan Nabilah binti Abdul Aziz, Aisyah Sumayyah binti Sharif, Nur Eva Ayuni binti Shaidan, Nur Izzah binti Ilham, as well as Madam Nurul Azrina binti Abdul Aziz as the advisor. Please welcome.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, thank you to the MC for today. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. and a very good evening I bid to the respective judges, all beloved fellows, and my friends who participated in this program. So we are the representative from Mahallah Fatima Al-Majritiyah. We present you the story behind our Mahallah's name, which inspired from one of the greatest astronomers back then. So next slide. So my name is Nazah binti Baransha, and as shown on the screen are my teammates, which are Aisyah Sumaya, Nur Efa Ayumi, Hannah Nabila, Anis Fatia, and also Nur Isa.
Alright, so this is our poster that we are competing in this competition. But to provide you with more details and more information on Fatima Al-Majritiyah, we have provided you with this slide so that we could provide you with more interesting stories about this Muslim figure. So next slide. Alright, so these are just a bit information about Fatima Al-Majritiyah. Fatima Al-Majritiyah is also better known as Fatima di Madrid in the West, meaning Fatima of Madrid. She was the daughter of a mathematician, a chemist, and also an astronomer named Maslama Al-Majriti. She was one of the greatest female astronomers during the heyday of Andalusian Islamic civilization, and she died in Cordoba at 1008 at the age of 58. So next slide. Now, this is the story time. So I will pass this presentation back to Najah.
Okay, thank you to my fellow friend Aisha. So as you can see in the slide, the golden age of Islam once saw the active involvement of women in learning centers and most institutions of knowledge. They are given equal opportunities in education, politics, arts, and also culture. The situation at time was different from women in the West when they were not allowed to get higher education and were forbidden to do educational work, especially in science. So next slide. So they were only allowed to share their ideas and opinions to their father, brother, or husband. So next slide. Today, modern astronomy actually relies heavily on the legacy and scientific innovation of Muslim women named Fatima Al-Majritiyah, who was one of the greatest female astronomers during the heyday of the Islamic civilization of Andalusia. However, very few people know her since the information about her is so difficult to obtain due to various specific and socio-historical factors. Fortunately, the University of Rovira Virgili is currently actively collecting information on Fatima. Better known as Fatima di Madrid in the West, which means Fatima of Madrid, she was also the daughter of the famous Andalusian mathematician, chemist, and astronomer Maslama Al-Majriti, who was appointed the Eclipse of Spain. Fatima became one of the outstanding students in various branches of science, especially astronomy, under the guidance of her father. So next slide. The two of them collaborated a lot in the study of mathematics, chemistry, and the improvement of all algorithmic astronomical table that is related to these three studies, which is calendar, moon, and the position of the sun and planets, spherical trigonometry, and the last one is astronomical function and eclipse prediction. So I'll pass the floor to Aisha.
All right, so next. Okay, so based on the studies that have been said by Najah just now, the contribution of Fatima and Maslama in the effort to improve these studies was very helpful in a series of important calculations related to the size of the Mediterranean Sea when it was adapted to the geographical coordinates of Cordoba, which served as the center of the caliphate. So next slide. Other than that, Fatima was also proficient in manuscript copying work, and she once became the librarian of Al-Hakam too, which was the largest library in the world that housed over 400,000 books at the time. There she created a catalog system that collected information of books in more detail, where she was responsible to oversee more than 70 libraries around Cordoba. Among Fatima's usual tasks was also visiting markets and centers that collected manuscripts around the cities of Constantinople, Baghdad, Cairo, and Samarkand. Fatima also invited by scientists in the cities to exchange study materials. So despite being born in Madrid, she spent most of her life in Cordoba, where she was surrounded by friends made up of scientists. Some of them were responsible for translating her work, which was then compiled into Arabic and Latin. Fatima was also one of the female figures immortalized in the International Year of Spanish Astronomy calendar for 2009 for her services as a pioneer in the field of calendar statistics. Her best-known work is known as Creations de Fatima. So next slide. In 1008, the world of science lost this great woman when she died in Cordoba at the age of 58 years. The result of the last collaboration of Fatima and her father, the Tratado del Astrolabio, is well preserved and can be seen in the library of Escorial Monastery near Madrid, Spain. So to conclude our presentation today, I'll pass this presentation back to Najah.
All right, so to conclude this slide is, from this story, it is proof that Islam do appreciate the effort and the contribution of women in the society, and Islam also elevate women's status in the society. In fact, there are a few stories about women mentioned in Surah in Al-Quran, like Maryam and Hajar. So that is why we choose Fatima al-Majlidiyah as one of our names for our Mahallah. So I think that is all from us. Thank you.
Thank you, representation from Mahallah Fatima. Therefore, we have finally learned about the figure behind the name Fatima al-Majlidiyah or Fatima of Madrid. It is actually very interesting to learn about a great female figure, especially in the astronomy field, as mostly it was dominated by male instead of female. So I've learned a very interesting facts today. So before we go any further, I would like to invite one of our judges for today for any commentaries or any questions. Please welcome.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Mahallah Fatima al-Majlidiyah. Okay, and first of all, I would like to congratulate for a very well presentation just now. Okay, it's very informative, and I think it's opened the eyes of all the students and staff of CFSIIUM on who is Fatima al-Majlidiyah is actually is lah. Okay, so I have to declare here that I will only assess based on your poster. Additional information is considered as additional because to be fair to others, then we are only to assess on the poster itself. My question is that what can you emulate from the personality of Fatima al-Majlidiyah in your daily life as a CFS student, and why? And can I have Najah to answer that?
All right, thank you for the question. So the question is what I want to take from Fatima al-Majlidiyah to my daily life. So for me, I will take his determination in my daily life, because at that time, the meal is like, it has a so at that time, meal is the meal is more focused on at that time. Yes, dominant at that time. And for me, it is a good thing for Fatima to be determined, even though at that time all of the people didn't actually focus on women. So I will take the determination of Fatima in my daily life to proceed with my study, to achieve anything in my life, and determined to do everything, even though there is a barrier in my life. Like people say that barrier is not actually a barrier, but it is the help for you to learn something new in your life. So I think that's all for me.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mama Rafi and Sister Najah. Next, I would like to call upon representative from Mahallah Umamah. Please welcome Nur Zawana Yamni binti Nur Najmi, Nurin Lamia binti Muhammad Imran, Nur Ashikin binti Tajuddin, Nur Sharif Aizat binti Muhammad Sharif, and Sister Siti Hajar Aisyah binti Yahya, as well as Madam Nur Asya Ali, Madam Nur Haida Muhammad, Madam Nur Saadiah Muhammad Ali, Madam Nur Farah Shazwani Ismail, Madam Siti Fatimah Al-Zahra Elias, Madam Nur Alfiza Yusnaini Yusuf as their advisor. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for our beautiful moderator, for our honorable judges, and thank you also for all the fellows and principal of Mahallah Umamah. Thank you to my fellow teammates, and thank you so much for fellow friends for being here tonight. So, my name is Zawana. I am the representative of MRC of Mahallah Umamah. We will be presenting our poster named Umamah here tonight. So why we name our poster Umamah? It's simple, because our mahallah name Umamah. And why our mahallah being named as Umamah? First, let me tell you a short story. So who is Umamah actually? So Umamah is the beloved granddaughter of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the daughter of Zainab binti Muhammad and Abu al-Ash bin Rabi'. Umamah has two siblings. She has a brother named Ali who had died as a child. So Umamah inherited many traits from her mother. She is known for her intelligence, for her gentle and motherly nature. But despite her mature attitude, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam still nurtured her and treated her like a child. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also often took Umamah to the mosque and lead the Muslims while carrying her on his shoulder. Rasulullah, who liked to carry the Umamah, surprised the Arab community at that time. Why? Because at that time, Arab community really hated doctors and insulted them. So Rasulullah also once got a gift in the form of a gold-plated pearl chain. And at that time, the wives of Prophet were gathering, while the Umamah were running and playing by the side of the house. So Rasulullah said, the owner of the chain is the person he loved the most. So Rasulullah's wife wondered who is the owner of the gold chain was. So soon after, Rasulullah came to Umamah and put the chain on the neck of his beloved granddaughter. In addition, the story about Umamah, in the 8th year of Hijrah, after Umamah's mother, Zainab, died, Umamah was taken care by her father. Soon, she became an orphan. So after that, Umamah was taken care by Zubair bin al-Awwam. So some narrations also state that Sayyidina Ali's decision was made based on the will of Fatimah Az-Zahra before her death. Why Fatimah Az-Zahra made that will? One of the reasons is because Fatimah was very familiar with the nature of Umamah, which was very gentle, motherly, and affectionate to children. So before Fatimah died, Umamah often cared for her cousin, which is the sons of Fatimah and Sayyidina Ali, Hassan and Hussein. So because of that, Fatimah felt calmer if Umamah took care of her children after she died. So Umamah took care of Hassan and Hussein with love, and she accompanied Sayyidina Ali until his death. So the Ibrah from the Sirah, from the story of Umamah just now is, first, as a student, we must be preserved through the hardships of life, such as the loss of loved ones and a place to depend on, like how Umamah being preserved and still keep going on her life after her parents' death. Second, we must have sense of humanity. Why? As narrated by Abu Qatadah al-Ansari, Allah's Messenger, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was praying, and he was carrying Umamah, the daughters of Zainab, the daughter of Allah's Messenger, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she was the daughter of As bin Rabi'ah bin Abi Shams. When he prostrated, he put her down and where he stood, he carried her on his neck. And last thing about our poster that I'm going to talk about tonight is our trademark. So our trademark is serving Ummah with love. So why we choose this trademark as our Mahallah trademark? First, because we want to serve our residents with tenderness and responsibility. Second, we want to treat everyone equally despite being the different background. Either they are rich, either they are poor, either they are beautiful, ugly, and so on. And the third one, we want to make our Mahallah as a safe place to live, as a peace place to live and listen, and we can interact with each other nicely. And I think that's all from me as the representative of MRC of Umamah for our presentation tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, representative from Umamah. Through her presentation just now, I believe that every resident under the name Umamah will learn to cultivate love for each other. So before we go any further, I would like to invite one of our judges for today for any commentary or questions for the contestant. Please welcome.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Sawana, for a very good presentation on Umamah. So basically, to be honest, just a few days back, then I know who Umamah is all about. Who is she basically? She is basically a granddaughter of the Prophet Muhammad SAW. And when we read through the seerah of Umamah, we can see the love of the Prophet towards the grandchildren, the love of the father and the mother, everything. And then it's all about love and affection. Okay, I have two questions here. Okay, number one, other than Zawana, okay, the other members of the group, okay, could you please elaborate on the importance of love and affection in your life as a student? Okay, that's the first question. The importance of love and affection.
Okay, first, let me answer these questions. Because as student, especially as teenager, we always find love as romantic. That's it. But actually, we can find love through family and friends. We meet friends from different background, from different state, from different city, and that will not stop us from loving each other, from treat each other with gentleness. And I think as student, we shouldn't have this discrimination around our environment. We should treat each other equally. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Ashikin. Okay, my second question is that, can love solve everything?
I'm sorry, sir, but can you repeat the question? Because I can't hear you just now.
So, can love solve everything?
All right, let me answer this. Can love solve everything? From my opinion, no, because I've seen lots of love relationship during since I live. I mean, like there's a lot because like as you can say just now, we nowadays as students and especially as teenagers, most of teenagers and students always take the meaning of love wrongly. So they thought that being in love is something like, oh, it's so nice. It's be like, oh, so good. I mean, like it's so fun to be, but actually it's not. And there is a lot of responsibility when you take the love, when you want to be in love, or when you want to have love. So for me, love will not solve everything unless if you're willing to take the responsibility on being in love. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Muhammad Rafi and Sister Zawana, as well as Sister Nurul Ashikin, for the question and the answer just now. It is a very interesting topic to talk tonight, especially about love and emotion, but we need to move on. So I would like to welcome the Department of Physics. Please welcome Hamzah Faisal, Muhammad Haziq Haikal bin Bizalan, Sharizal Fatah bin Mazlan, and Madam Nur Fariha Azlan as their advisor. Please welcome.
Good evening, ladies. Assalamu alaikum and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I am Hamza Faisal, and I'm the representative for Department of Physics. And today I will be representing about waves. Now, the subject of physics is big, and I'm trying to relate the subject of physics with Islam and Quran. But since it is very vast and very big, I will be representing just about waves for today. Now, what are waves? Now, to simply put, waves, we can think waves as a disturbance or oscillation that travels through space and time, and it is often accompanied by a transfer of energy. Now, waves exist all around us. It consists of various types such as sound waves, radio waves, seismic waves, and many more. Now, what radio waves are, to simply put, radio waves are the waves that are used to communicate between your phone and, for example, the cell tower. Those are radio waves. Sound waves are what we can hear. It propagates through the air or solid or even liquid. Seismic waves are the waves that can cause devastation like an earthquake. Now, waves are formed as a result of vibration. In general, waves can be divided into three parts: mechanical waves, electromagnetic waves, and matter waves. Waves can propagate through mediums such as solid, liquid, and gases. However, depending on what the medium are the waves traveling, the speed of the waves can be different. This is due to the molecular arrangement inside of the particle or medium, or even its elasticity properties. Now, regarding mechanical waves is an example of wave that travels through all medium. This is different from matter waves. You see, the difference is that mechanical waves can travel through all medium. Without any medium, such as a vacuum space, there are no way for mechanical waves to travel, which is why in vacuum, you cannot hear anything. Now, matter waves are, for example, light. Light is considered a matter wave. Now, example of mechanical waves is sound wave, tsunami, and earthquake. Mechanical waves can be divided into two types: transverse wave and longitudinal wave. For transverse wave, the direction of waves propagation is perpendicular to the direction of disturbed medium. Meanwhile, for longitudinal wave, both waves and the disturbed medium will vibrate in the same direction. Now, before I move on about earthquake, let me read to you a simple surah from the Quran, which is Surah Al-Zalzalah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what this surah is all about are earthquake. It is the proof and evidence that that Allah will give punishment in the form of an earthquake. Now, let me explain to you how does an earthquake happen. During an earthquake, the shifting of the rock from somewhere will lead to the formation of a seismic wave. This seismic wave will be carried around the crust and the mantle of the earth towards in a circular motion. Now, this seismic wave can be divided into two types. First, the body wave, and second, the surface wave. The body wave consists of P-type, which are primary waves, and the S-type, the secondary waves. The P-type wave is the longitudinal wave, and it can travel through solid, liquid, and even gases. Now, usually this type of the waves will be the first one to be sensed by the seismometer due to the speed of it being faster than the secondary waves. The S-type wave will arrive later than the P-type because it can only travel through solid. Now, both of the waves have a very low frequency, usually ranging from just 5 Hertz to 30 Hertz. This is why it is a bit below than the human's audible range. Humans' audible range are from 20 Hertz to 20 kilohertz. This is why we cannot hear the earthquake coming. However, some animals, such as birds, cats, and even dogs, can sense these waves coming. However, we can't. Now, what can P-type and S-type wave do? P-type wave will cause the ground to buckle and fracture as the ground travels back and forth. Now, the S-type wave will cause the ground to shake up and down, and the ground is vibrating perpendicular to each other. Now, and the last wave that will come is surface wave. This is the most destructive wave because it can only travel through solid, and it happens at the ground level, and it can devastate everything on the ground. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us think about what will happen in a world where no waves can happen. We can't hear, we cannot see, and we cannot even have a proper functioning communication system. This is why waves play a very vital role in our daily life. The conclusion of my presentation: although humans are considered to be the best creation of Allah, we still have a lot of limitations to us. Thus, we need to be aware that the greatness of Allah, as narrated in the Holy Quran. قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ إِنْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ سَمْعَكُمْ وَأَبْصَارَكُمْ وَخَتَمَ عَلَى قُلُوبِكُمْ مَنْ إِلَهُ غَيْرُ اللَّهِ يَأْتِيكُمْ بِهِ انظُرْ كَيْفَ نَصْرِفُ الْآيَاتِ ثُمَّ هُمْ يُصْدِفُونَ. Sadaqallahu. The meaning is, think here, if Allah took away your hearing and your sight and sealed up your hearts, who, a God other than Allah, could restore them to you? See how we explain the signs by various symbols, yet they turn aside. With that, that is all of my presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Brother Hamza Faisal and the Department of Physics. With that, I remind we have briefly learned about waves and perspective of physics as well as Islamic. We have also learned about earthquake and types of wave that exist. So before we go any further, I would like to invite one of our judges for today to give a brief commentary or any questions to the contestant. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you, Brother Hamza, for the presentation. I have one question to you and the other presenters from Department of Physics. In your opinion, why Muslims, even without the background knowledge about physics, they need to understand about waves and its relation to the Quran?
In my opinion, we as Muslims, we need to understand like even the simplest, because waves, it happens in our daily lives. It affects how we hear, how we see, and even how we receive information through our phones. So in that relation, we can learn and we can know how the world functions and the great power of Allah. So that's why we need to learn it. We need to understand the fundamentals of it. And that is my opinion of it.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer.
Thank you, Miss Farhana and Brother Hamza Faisal. So that's a wrap from the Department of Physics. Next, I would like to invite the Department of IOHK. Please welcome Abu Muhammad Fadil bin Muhammad Shakib with his advisor, Madam Siti Hawa binti Ahmad. The floor is yours.
Can you watch me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good evening for lecturer, other friends, and all students CFSIIUM tonight. So my name is Abu Mak Fadil bin Muhammad Shakib, and I am from the Islamic River Knowledge and Heritage course. So today, I'm sorry because my English is not fluent, but I want still to talk and to show about the subject and course that I have at CFSIIUM. Okay, so relate to the poster, my project title is Usul Fiqh and Science. Okay, why I choose the Usul Fiqh and Science? Because Islam is a religion of Rahmatan lil Alamin, in which various kind of religious laws have been regulated, ranging from social issues to spiritual issues. Where legal issues relating to human and people are wrapped in a scientific discipline, namely the science of fiqh. This phenomenon can be seen clearly from the works of previous scholars, in which one of the problem in Islamic muamalat, munakahat, jinayat, and on in a fiqh is called systematically. So to sign this paper discussing the sign of fiqh and the factors of the occurrence of difference of opinion among the Imam school, the outer issue, and like that. Okay, so as we know, IRK department or IRK subject learn about Islamic subject like usul fiqh, akidah, ibadah, and what our learn the primary school, the secondary school, or masjid, mosque, and surau, and like that. So we must know the usul fiqh and science are very important to student learn, because the people now can not now many information about the Islam and science. Example, the vaccine. So with Al-Quran, with the everyone know the intipati of Al-Quran, and the people know about science, so we know, and we know to use the vaccine, because the vaccine the hukum is halal. But if not everybody, not anyone learn about the usul fiqh, so we don't know about how to use hukum and can use a vaccine or not. So I think my course want to the student understand about Islam and science, because all student, if just learn Al-Quran, not learn the science, so we not now every knowledge at work. But if our study every subject, so we know to use the subject or the knowledge in the future. So you look the earths and Al-Quran. So earths show to everyone, Allah give to people, Allah give to human, Allah give to student, and the many knowledge, the many information, the many knowledge. But we use the knowledge to kind of bad. So the course of as we know, all of course learn about the subject or specific subject, but Allah mentioned fas'alu ahla zikri in kuntum la ta'lamun. If you don't know about something, you must ask, you must learn, you must find to someone know about the something. So like that, inshallah I can expert about Al-Quran, about the Islamic subject. So you can ask I, and you all maybe you expert about the ICT, you expert about the physics, you expert the medical. So I can ask you all the knowledge. So I think we are same. But difficult the aspect of one subject or one's aspect for to work in future. So Allah mentioned in Surah Al-An'am, A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. وَمَا لَكُمْ أَلَّا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا ذُكِرَ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَقَدْ فَصَّلَ لَكُمْ مَا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ إِلَّا مَا اضْطُرِرْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا لَيُضِلُّونَ بِأَهْوَائِهِمْ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ إِنَّ رَبَّكَ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِالْمُعْتَدِينَ. Allah mentioned in Surah Al-An'am, Allah say to all people, to all human, to eat or drink the food and drink halal, but not all of people, and maybe not all of Islamic people eat and drink the halal food and water. So if not have someone, if not have a group or anybody that learn about the usul fiqh, about the usul fiqh and science, so science is a big usul fiqh and science. So we don't know the halal for eat, the halal of for drink. So the people can eat anybody, pig, dog, and so on. So I think Al-Quran and science relate to all of us to learn and study. But in my course, in my subject, I expect to usul fiqh and science because I have learned usul fiqh, and usul fiqh is very important. If we have a study of usul fiqh, I think in future we cannot know what happened to our religion, Islam, inshallah. So I think my presentation is the end. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Brother Abu Muhammad Fadil, for his excellent presentation. From his presentation, we have learned that Islam is a holistic religion in which it's involved in human daily life, ranging from the smallest matter to the major things, from the worldly issues to the akhirah issues. And I believe that Islam and science should be brought hand in hand together, and we should not leave one subject and take another. Therefore, before we go any further, I would like to invite one of our judges for any question to our contestant. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation just now. Can you hear me?
Yes, madam, loud and clear.
Okay. All right, so I have a few comments here regarding your poster, okay, brother. Because I thought there's technical issue on the poster submitted because there is no content. Okay, it's just that the ayah that you provide. Okay, so actually for poster, okay, it should be something that can stand alone. Okay, in which it must be something that you have to visualize all the contents, because you have presented several contents just now, verbally. You have all the important information, okay, that you try to deliver just now. It's just that the contents are not in the poster. All right. So poster should be something that you have to visualize, okay, the content. Okay. All right. So I have one general question. Okay. What is the difference between Islamization and relevantization?
Can you repeat the question?
Okay. Okay, my question is, what is the difference between the Islamization and relevantization?
Islam.
What is the difference between Islamization and relevantization?
So, the different Islam religion.
Okay, how did you relevantize the ayah that you provide in your poster?
And how?
How did you relevantize the ayah that you provide in your poster from Surah Al-An'am?
Because I think the important issue about the vaccine, dia ulama or the ustaz and ustazah use the ayah for we call about the qiyas and ijma ulama. The ayah we use to the vaccine because this ayah also mentioned if you in a situation like if you cannot eat, you will die. If you don't have a food halal to eat, you can eat. You can drink the water or the food. Example about the maybe the pig, you can eat, but for you still alive and you can to do bekal and others. So I think this ayah in one example from Al-Quran to do we as a student to learn and now about the usul fiqh. I think many ayah in Quran mentioned, but this ayah focus to we as a student because because my friend and I learn about the usul fiqh now, so we use the example now, like a vaccine, the situation now. So I use this ayah to do about for Islam implementation. To do to present about. So the question is what the difference between discrimination and relevantization? Islam and relevant at this now. I not understand.
Did you have other two members with you?
These members, I
How
know.
many of you in your group? How many group members you have?
No.
Only you?
Yeah.
Representing the IT department. Okay.
So the question is different between Islamization and relevation. So I think I not now the how to explain about this question, but because I not understand in English, but I think what I understand about the question is Islam and Islam is once okay, Islam is one of a religion that from 1400 until now. So I think so Islam Islam not that this religion, but as people now to make the Islam relate the situation now. So like that maybe to maybe the the people use the Islamic contents like that. But now we can relate about one case of one topic with the types. So we can relevant the Islam in case need to the people that have learned about the Islamic and science now, because if not have a people, not have a student, not have a human that have learned about this topic, this question, so I think in the future we can have get the ones hukum, or once a topic, once a problem that we must so if not have a if not have a
Okay, Fadil. Thank you very much for the effort. So thank you.
Okay. Sorry about the I think I just want to give I just want to send about I just want to story about the all student that we have learned in IOHK. Maybe a student not now, not very now about the subject where we have learned. So I just explain. So if you want to learn about subject, if you want to know, you can ask me and my friend in IRK department. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy my explanation. If you don't understand, you can PM me. Inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for all.
Thank you, Madam Nur Saadia and Brother Abu Muhammad Fadil for their constructive commentary and also questions just now. Next, we shall move on to the next team. Therefore, I would like to call upon the Department of Chemistry. Please welcome Brother Ayman Hafiz bin Aznan, Brother Abdullah Haris bin Abdul Rashid, Brother Ayman Hazid bin Zanizam, Sister Nurul Aisyah Najwa binti Mak Jusoh, Sister Nur Farishah binti Abdul Rahim, as well as the advisor, Dr. Siti Fatimah Putri Jamain, and Sir Muhammad Hazwanizal Rizan bin Azri. Please welcome.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. And a very good evening to the judging panels, lecturers, and to all my brothers and sisters in Islam. It's an honor for me to speak in this meeting today to deliver a presentation. My name is Abdullah Haris bin Abdul Rashid, and I will be your presenter for my group's project. Together with me in this project are Ayman Hafiz bin Aznan. He is our group leader and the brains of the operation. Ayman Hazid bin Abzainizam, he is the content researcher of our group. Nurul Aisyah Najwa binti Mak Jusoh and Siti Nur Farisha binti Abdul Rahim. Both Aisyah and Farisha are responsible for designing this lovely poster, together with both our advisor, Madam Fatimah and Sir Hazwanizam. Fun fact, we are representing the chemistry department. All right, so now we've settled our introductions. Let me tell all of you the topic for our project, which is the unseen miracles of metals. I hope that by the end of this presentation, that everyone here knows about the miracles of metals and its wonders and advantages. So, what is metal? To simplify, metal is one of the few favors Allah has given us and have been stated in the Quran and Hadith numerous of times. Metals are substances that have luster, are opaque, and may be fused. Most metals can be found naturally in the Earth's crust, while others are unobtainable on Earth, and some must be smelted first. Metal has many uses and is often depicted in the Quran as a really valuable substance. It is also used in many authentic hadiths, such as عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الناس معادن خيارهم في الجاهلية خيارهم في الإسلام إذا فقهوا صحيح البخاري. Meaning, humans are like metal. Chosen it is during Jahiliyah, chosen it is during Islam. That is, if they understand. This hadith indicates the values of metals, which are malleable and tough, just like us humans, who can adapt to situations and can be useful during those times. In this presentation, however, I will only be discussing about the four most mentioned metals in the Quran, which are copper, iron, silver, and gold. First and foremost, I'll be explaining the miracles of copper. So copper, or in Arabic, al-qit, is mentioned in the Quran in Surah Sabah, verse 12. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وأسلنا له عين القطر. And we have granted him a flow of liquid copper. This verse states that Allah has granted him, which is by the way Nabi Muhammad, Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam, a flow of liquid copper. So why is copper depicted as flowing? Well, it is because it's to explain how electricity and heat flows best on copper-made things, such as copper wires and copper pots. But copper is not only used in electrical wiring and pottery, it's also used in building materials, because one of its advantages is that copper will oxidize with air to form copper oxide, which can protect the inner parts of the building from reduction and erosion. So on to the next metal, which is iron, or in Arabic, al-hadid. Iron is depicted in the Quran many times, and it even has a surah named after the metal. One of the many verses that talks about iron is Surah Al-Hadid, verse 25. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وأنزلنا الحديد فيه بأس شديد ومنافع للناس وليعلم الله من ينصره ورسله بالغيب إن الله قوي عزيز. Meaning, and we sent down iron in which there lies great force and which has many uses for mankind. This verse explains that iron is not actually dug up in the Earth's crust. Rather, it actually originates from outer space. Hence the wording of sent down, meaning that Allah sent down iron from outer space to Earth in the forms of asteroids, meteors, and space debris. Iron is produced by giant stars in the universe and is spread out to other planets such as Earth. Iron is used widely in construction works and buildings. A substance from iron oxide particles, are also used in cancer treatment using the magnetofluid hypothermia technique. An interesting fact about iron and copper in Surah Al-Kahfi, verse 96, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم آتوني زبر الحديد حتى إذا ساوى بين الصدفين قال انفخوا حتى إذا جعله نارا قال آتوني أفرغ عليه قطرا. Meaning, bring me blocks of iron. Then, when he had filled up the gaps between two mountains, he ordered blow. When the iron becomes red hot, he said, bring me molten copper to pour over it. This interesting verse explains the use of mixing two metals, in this case, copper and iron, to form an even stronger substance. This verse is actually teaching us about alloys. The alloy this verse is describing is a type of master alloy called copper-iron master alloy. Copper-iron master alloy is used as a grain refiner for some brass alloys and aluminum bronze. It is also used for improving mechanical properties of low alloy coppers and corrosion resistance of copper-nickel alloys. So, on to the next metal, we're going to talk about silver next. Silver, or fiddah in Arabic, is described in Surah Az-Zukhruf, Verse 33. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولولا أن يكون الناس أمة واحدة لجعلنا لمن يكفر بالرحمن لبيوتهم سقفا من فضة ومعارج عليها يظهرون. Meaning, and if every human people would come together, then Allah can roof them under a roof made of silver. Made of silver. This verse explains how valuable silver dirhams were even back in the past. If you take a look at the verse, why did Allah say silver? Isn't gold more valuable than silver? Well, to answer this is because silver has many health benefits than gold, such as eradicating bacteria in water sources, because silver can emit radiation that is not harmful to us humans and the environment. This is why silver is commonly used in water filters, used as an antibiotic, and for wound care. Silver is also used to form alloys and is preferably used over lead to reduce air pollution. It is also a good conductor for electricity and can spread micro and radio waves efficiently. Last but certainly not least is gold. Who doesn't know gold? Gold, or in Arabic, zahab, is mentioned in the Quran as one of the most valuable substances on earth. One of it is from Surah Al-Kahfi, verse 31. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أولئك لهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتهم الأنهار يحلون فيها من أساور من ذهب ويلبسون ثيابا خضرا من سندس واستبرق متكئين فيها على الأرائك نعم الثواب وحسنت مرتفقا. Meaning, those will have gardens of perpetual residence. Beneath them, rivers will flow. They will be adorned therein with bracelets of gold and will wear green garments of fine silk bracelets. So this verse explains how Muslims will get the most excellent type of gold in heaven. Gold is also used in the Quran to indicate precious entities that aren't exactly gold, but is as valuable as gold, such as white gold, which describes silver, and black gold, which describes petroleum. Though gold isn't just some useless metal that's just pretty. Some scientists managed to use gold nanoparticles for standard chemotherapeutics, which is a type of treatment for sex cancer patients. Gold leaves are also used in electroscopes to detect changes in charge for some items. And finally, gold is used as a lubricant for mechanical parts and is used widely in computer parts. So to conclude my presentation, I want to emphasize that our theme is about the wonders of metal in the Quran and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had revealed it long before modern day scientists had made discovery on it. This is proof that Islam clarifies every matter or shumul and one of the sources for Muslims to will to the end of time. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once said, I leave you with two things. You will never stray from the true path if you cling on to these two things. These two things are Quran and As-Sunnah. So that's all from me and my group. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
All right, thank you, Brother Abdullah Haris, for his excellent presentation just now. So based on his presentation, we have learned about a very interesting topic in which it is about metal. So I believe based on the Quranic verses presented in which it has been describing the metal, I believe that metal is one of a very special metal that exists because it has been mentioned in our Quran severally. And metal is also a very important matter that exists as it has contributed to the history of mankind in order to achieve civilization. Therefore, before we go to our last team, I would like to invite one of our judges for any commentary and questions to the contestant. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. I have one question to the presenters. As a student, how your knowledge about the miracles of metals as you presented helps you to become a better Muslim?
Okay, so the question was, I repeat, how can my knowledge of metals can help me improve to become a better Muslim? Correct? Correct. Okay, so one of the hadiths that I explained earlier, which is humans are like metal. Right? You know, chosen it is during Jahiliyyah, chosen it is during Islam. That is if they understand. I will emphasize as that is if they understand. When I look at this hadith, I was like, why is Rasulullah comparing us to metals, right? But then I remember that metals are really beneficial to human lives. So like we can take ibrah from metals and apply it to our everyday lives to become better human beings, so that we can help others and be chosen in any time. So that's how I can apply my knowledge from metal to improve me as a Muslim. So that's all.
Okay, thank you very much for the response.
All right, thank you, Miss Farhana and Brother Abdullah Haris. We have saved the best for the last. With that, I would like to invite the Department of Law. Please welcome Sister Nurul Huda binti Abdul Rahim, Sister Nurin Zakirah binti Muhammad Nazri, Sister Nur Amni Tasnim binti Kamaruddin, Sister Christina Batrisha binti Aminuddin, Sister Nur Hidayah Izati binti Muhammad Kamal, as well as their advisor, Madam Siti Farhana binti Abdul Hassan. Please welcome.
Am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala al-ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to all my beloved audience and the respected lecturers here. Not to forget a big thanks to the gorgeous moderator. You have a big smile, by the way. We are from the Department of Legal Studies, are delighted to be here today to have a relaxing session with all of you guys in the topic of justice and the Quran. My name is Nurin Zakirah binti Muhammad Nazri, your host for today. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, let me introduce to you guys my lovely and beautiful members that will be here with us today. The act consists of 4 members, which is the first one is Miss Christina Patricia, Miss Nur Hidayah Izati, Miss Nur Amni Tasnim, and the last one is Miss Nurul Huda. Good evening, everyone. How are you today?
Good evening,
absolutely good. Glad to hear that. If you don't mind, can you introduce yourself briefly? Can we start with Miss Huda?
Yeah, sure, Nurin. Hello, everyone. My name is Huda, your favorite speaker.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hidayah. Nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Christina.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm your favorite lawyer. You can call me Amni.
Oh, really, Amni? Have you ever watched this talk show before?
Yes, of course. You can tell me that I am one of the biggest fan of this show. I've been watching this talk show since I was a kid, and now I'm already 23. It's such an honor for me to be in this amazing talk show.
Wow, I'm so surprised actually. It is lovely to have all of you this evening. Back to our topic. I'm aware that this topic has been really popular these days, and we are going to discuss more details on this topic. I will briefly explain the meaning of justice. What the meaning of justice actually? The meaning of justice in the worldview is the term of justice comes from the Latin word justitia. It signifies the obedience of the divine law, righteousness, and the state of being just before God, theologically. In the Islamic worldview, justice denotes placing things in their rightful place. It also means giving other equal treatment. In Islam, justice is also a moral virtue and an attribute of human personality, as it is in the Western tradition. Furthermore, in the Quranic verses, in the Quranic view, for justice, the Holy Quran uses the word adl and qis and sometimes taswiyah. The first two are more or less synonymous. Literally, adalun is the equalization of burdens, or the iqtahu bil adl, half load, which bears the sign of judicial equity and rectitude. When it is said i'tidal, it bears the meaning that he gave him full measure. For poetry, when it is said i'tidalu sha'r, it means that the verse become measured. Okay, that's all from me. That's my explanation on the meaning of justice from 3 different aspects. Okay, so I want to start with Miss Huda. Ms. Huda, in your opinion, what is the concept of justice?
All right, thank you, Neri. I would like to explain two concepts of justice, which is for the first one is equality. So in the eyes of Quran, all human beings are the creation of God from one being. So let's take a look on this. So it has been stated in Surah Al-Hujurat verse 13, "O you men, surely we have created male and a female and made you tribes and families that you may know each other. Surely the most honorable of you with Allah is the one among you who careful of his duty." So right, so according to these and other verses of the Holy Quran, there should be no superiority, privilege or priority based on language, color or social status in order to maintain justice in society. Without exception, all human beings should be treated as equals. So secondly, moderation. When we talk about moderation, moderation is essential for the preservation of justice in society. The Quranic injunction in this respect is that Muslims as a community are moderate in all spheres of life. In Surah Al-Baqarah verse 143, the translation, "And thus we have made you a medium nation that you may be bearer of witness to the people." Whether the issue is the socio-economic structure of society or the adoption of any political system, there should be no excess or deficiency in theory or action, but rather a middle ground should be adopted and a balance maintained. So because of justice in any matter, whether social, economic or political, will be impossible without moderation. And then
Sorry to interrupt, but I think I would like to add two more concepts of justice. May I?
Yes, sure, Hidayah. You are pleased to do so.
Okay, thank you. So the next concept is trust or amanah. Islam sees man as Allah's vicegerent on earth. He is accountable for what he can control. Hadith from Ibn Umar, Prophet said, "Kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyati," which means that each of you is a carer and accountable for his care. So whenever there is a conflict between individual and group interests, the latter should be given primacy. In Surah An-Nisa chapter 4 verse 58, "Surely Allah commands you to make overtrusts to those who are competent to discharge them, and that when you judge between people, judge with justice." So this verse shows that each person should be given the work that fits his nature. His own preference or claims will be ignored, and society will decide on his suitability for any given role. Moving on to the next concept, which is solidarity or ta'awun. Solidarity and cooperation are vital in achieving any social aim. Modern sociologists believe it is a crucial concept to uphold stability, peace, and justice. As a result of this, the Quran declares in Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse 2, the translation is, "And help one another in righteousness and piety, and help not one another in sin and aggression, and keep your duty to Allah." This verse established that society's justice cannot be maintained without its member cooperation, but this cooperation should be for the good of all. So that's all from me.
I see. Thank you, Huda and Hidayah. What a great explanation from both of you. I'm sure starting from now on, all of us completely understand the concept of justice. I want to ask Ms. Christina, if you don't mind, can you explain to us the types of equality? We all would love to hear that from you. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Nurin. I've made a research and I found two types of equality in Islam. First is equality of citizenship and equality in fundamental right. But first, let's take a look at equality of citizenship. Individuals of all castes, color, and creeds are equal and thus constitute one community. Surely, this is a single village. For example, when Holy Prophet ﷺ arrived in Medina, he fought a social political agreement with non-Muslims in order to construct an imagined Muslim state in which everyone was considered one ummah or community and had equal citizenship right. Next, let's take a closer look at the next equality to safeguard in society is that of fundamental right. The first essential right of citizenship is to protect one's life, property, and honor.
That means we must practice equality in our daily life, right?
Yes.
I see. Ms. Christina, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering what is the importance of justice. Can you tell us and give some examples from a few Quranic verses?
Yes, sure. I'm very happy to share with all of my audience the importance of justice. The Quran, the sacred scripture of Islam, considers justice to be a supreme virtue. God declares in the Quran, God commands justice and fair dealing. And in another passage, therefore one may conclude that justice is an obligation of Islam and injustice is forbidden. By the following verse, we sent our messengers with clear sign and sent down with them the book and the measure in order to establish justice among the people. The first, our messenger showed that justice has been the goal of all revelation and scripture sent to humanity. The verse also shows that justice must be measured and implemented by the standard and guidelines set by revelation. Islam's approach to justice is comprehensive and all-embracing. Any path that leads to justice is deemed to be in harmony with Islamic law. God has demanded justice.
Wow, you have a solid point there. Thank you, Miss Christina. Now, moving on to my fan since her childhood era, Miss Amni, since we are talking about justice and Al-Quran, there must be more examples about this topic in the Quran. If you don't mind, can you share it with us?
Thank you to Ms. Nuri Zakir. Yes, of course. The Quran also refers to particular example and context of justice. One such instance is the requirement of just treatment of an orphan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in Surah An-An'am verse 152, and approach nor the property or the orphan except in the fairest way, until he or she attains the age of full strength and give measurement and weight with justice. Ladies and gentlemen, the first example of justice that has mentioned in Quran is about fair dealings in measurement and weight, as described in the preceding verse, are also mentioned in other chapter where justice is emphasized in buying, selling, and in all economic transactions. The whole chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Mutaffifin, is dedicated to threatening fraudulent machine with divine wrath. Furthermore, in the context of polygamy, there are also references to justice. As we all know, Islam allows Muslim men to marry more than one wife in his lifetime. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also has commanded that all wives must be treated equally in Quran. The polygamy verse starts with a reference to orphan females who may be subjected to depravity and injustice. However, Allah mentioned in Surah An-Nisa verse 3 that if a man is afraid of not being equitable to his wife, he should marry only one wife to avoid him from violence.
So, what we can conclude here, we can see how Allah emphasized the nature of justice in every aspect of life, because it is a very important behavior that we should apply in ourselves to be a better person and a better slave of Allah. Right, Amni?
Yes, exactly, Ms. Noreen.
I see. Okay, guys, I think we have to conclude this topic since we are out of time. Who would like to try?
Ms. Noreen, can I conclude today's discussion?
Yes, sure. Welcome, Amni.
Okay, thank you. In conclusion, in the word of Sarkasi, who is a noted classical Islamic jurist, justice ranks as the most noble of act of devotion next to belief in God. It is the greatest of all the duties entrusted to the Prophet, and it is the strongest justification for man's stewardship of earth. And summing up to this discussion, the Holy Quran throws much light on this aspect of the mission of all the prophets, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in the Quran, certainly we send our messenger with clear argument and send down with them the book and the measure that men may conduct themselves with equality. Thus, with the advent of Islam, the Quran insistently calls upon all Muslims and others like that as a ruler, judges, and as a member of society. Hence, they should never deviate themselves from the path of justice.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Ms. Amni. With that, we are already at the end of our program. A big thank you to all the speakers, audiences, and the backstage team that contributed a lot to our program. Once again, heads up, people. See you next time. Goodbye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Goodbye, everyone. Assalamualaikum.
everyone.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
All right, so that's the end of the presentation for the Department of Law. We have seen a very energetic, interactive, and also an excellent presentation from them. Therefore, what we have learned for today is, as Muslim, we are the vicegerent on earth. Therefore, for justice to be served, we need to obey the law of Allah according to the teaching that has been revealed in the Quran, and the rest, it has been explained by the team. Therefore, before we end our session for today, I would like to invite one of our judges for today to give commentary or any question for the contestant. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you very much for Department of Legal Studies, and I believe Melex, okay, representing the Department of Legal Studies. Okay, I have a question here. Okay, does it tantamount to abuse of justice if there is restriction to the fundamental freedom in humans' daily life? Okay, I repeat, does it tantamount to abuse of justice if there is restriction to fundamental freedom in humans' daily life? That's the first question. I would pose it to Christina Batrisha. The second question is, what is the difference between equality and equity? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. For instance, I'm going to answer the first question. For instance, if a man do wrong in this world, maybe he will not get the judgment now. Maybe he will miss the punishment in the world. But in Islamic law, we learn that if you do sins, you will be judged in the hereafter, in the akhirat. That's in akhirat. So this is what I mean by justice in Islamic law. We can see how the judgment will be given to everyone in akhirah, and no one gonna miss the judgment. That's my answer.
Okay, I will continue with the difference between equality and equity. For the equality means each individual or group of people is given the same resources or opportunities. And for the equity recognizes that each person has different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunities needs to reach an equal outcome. I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Zahrawi, as well as Sister Christina Batrisha and Sister Nurin Zakira. Now we have come to the end of the poster competition, Al-Quran and Science poster presentation. I hope today's event will be a very remarkable event for all of us, and everyone can gain something that is beneficial for ourselves in the future. Let's give everyone a round of applause and a pat on the back for our effort and hard work put on today's competition. But before we adjourn our program for today, I would like to invite everyone to open their camera for a photography session. Everyone may open your camera. All right. So everyone can open your camera. I will count in 3 to snap the picture. So first page, in 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, one more. 3, 2, 1, smile. All right. Next, for the second page, please open up your camera, everyone. In count of 3, 2, 1, smile. All right. One more. 1, 2, 3, smile. All right. I believe that is a wrap for today's program. Thank you everyone for participating in today's program, and I wish for the very best for everyone in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.